I'm going to show you 3 tips that will instantly improve your solos. So if you're like a beginner or in the intermediate stage, or your solos just aren't making sense and you're wondering why, and you're wondering what the ingredients of a good solo are, these 3 tips will really, really help. And there's also a 4th tip at the end that will instantly make you play like
Eric Clapton.
I guarantee it. Tip 1 is repeat your phrases. Repeat your phrases. Repeat your phrases. That way you'll create motifs. So for instance, if you're in A minor and you go, that was long and rambly and I couldn't even follow that myself. How is the audience supposed to follow that or get into that? It's just like a wank fest. It's only good for the person playing it, not for anyone listening to it. There was no motif, there was nothing to latch onto, and that's hard. We all do that. We just ramble and ramble.
I'm shredding.
But like, that's gonna be impossible to replicate. That's gonna be impossible to remember. I can't remember a phrase that long. As a result, you're gonna have to shorten your phrases. That phrase just needs to be a little melodic thing that makes sense. If you play short phrases, then you have something to build, you have somewhere to go. That long, all this crap, that's the highlight of a solo. That shouldn't be the beginning of your solo. Start simple, repeat your phrases, and your solos will sound better. That's tip 1. Tip 2 is leave spaces between your phrases. It rhymes, leave spaces between your phrases. Because sometimes people will be like, okay, I'm repeating my phrases. And I'm like, whoa, that's not, it has to be, if your song is a blues in A, this is a phrase that makes sense. It has to do with how the song goes. Your phrase has to repeat and lock into the song. It can't just be random, right? So you have to listen. So to execute tip 2, you gotta be listening to the song. You gotta know what you're soloing over, and it has to make sense in regards to the song. These 2 tips so far already will change your playing a lot, because you're gonna make shorter phrases that make sense. You're gonna put some space into your playing, which is really important. If you just play, don't stop, the listener can't digest the phrases and the statements that you're making. If you start out right out of the gate just going
everywhere,
you have nowhere to build to. But if you at least start from the beginning, remembering, okay, short phrases that I can remember, I'm gonna repeat them, your solo will make a lot more sense. Tip 3, all long notes get vibrato. Without vibrato, it sounds fine, but vibrato, that's the heart of your playing. Without vibrato, it's just, it's gonna sound kind of lifeless. It's really rare to hear a guitar player play without vibrato. Yeah, put vibrato into all your long notes. If you're just starting out, that's something that you'll forget. It's hard to remember all 3 of these tips at the same time, so just focus on one. Do like 5 minutes a day, and just try to remember the vibrato tip, for instance. Making a good vibrato is a whole nother lesson, but I'll tell you this, it's in your arm, it's in your hand, it's not in your fingers. That wasn't an amazing solo or anything, but you could hear that I had a motif and that I was, elaborating on it. I was building to something. The whole point of these tips is just to get you into the mindset of using timeless things in your playing, like motif and vibrato and space and listening. And if you do those things all the time, your playing will sound better. Tip number 4, the top secret tip. Top secret 4th tip, keep your solo in a small register, a small range. The odds are you're in a pop band or a rock band or a blues band, and if you're lucky, you're gonna get 1 solo per song, and it'll be like 10 seconds if you're lucky. If you're in a jam band, forget all of these tips, because just play whatever you want. For like most pop stuff and regular stuff, those are gonna be the circumstances. So because of that, if you start a solo in A minor and you start with a low E and you end all the way up there, how did you manage to employ those tips? It's the difference between being a guitarist and a producer. So when you take a solo, Try to put on your producer hat, not your guitar player hat. Pretend like you're the producer in a song and you're recording your song. If you're the producer, how would you want that solo to go? What would make this solo sound good? How do I make this solo hooky? You may have learned 5 patterns all over the neck and different modes and different scales and you want to use it all, but just because you know it all doesn't mean you need to use it all the time. And if you let go of that, you might be able to focus more on the music and less on using the whole neck. And if you limit yourself to a small range, your solo might make a lot more sense. Definitely check out my video on how to put texture into your playing, because these 3 tips are great, but if you don't combine them with texture, your playing can sound very one-dimensional. These 3 tips plus texture will help you just skip right over the beginner stage and you'll sound much more advanced.